Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are out there on the inner tubes. This is Jon-Eric, your verbling teacher, hanging out today from Lisbon, Portugal, to bring you the next in our Talkaholic text series. This is class number 13, and all week long we have a brand new theme for you. But first, before I get into the specifics, let's start with 3 quick rules to help you in my class. Turn off, tune in, and open up. Turn off means please turn off your microphone when you enter the classroom and try to keep it off when you're not speaking. But more importantly, close the verbling window in the background so we don't get an echo. Tune in means to tune into the new words. Try to use them as actively as possible during the lesson. And finally, open up means speak. Don't be closed. Speak, because this is a safe and respectful place to practice your English. And guess what? The more you speak, the more I can help you, and that will help you learn. So I'm going to give everyone a link to a document in just a moment. I have to fix something on my computer. That's why it's not posted there. But I'll give it to you in the chat box in just a moment. First, I have to move it to the right place. Give me a second to do that. And I'd like to also say hello to some new faces. So let me do 2 things at once here. Hang on a second here. I've got to move my folders so I can give you the links. Okay, that looks like it's done. So we've got some new faces and some returning faces. Our returning faces are Ida and Judith. Hello, Ida and Judith. How are you?
Hi.
Killing 2 birds with 1 stone by talking to both of you at the same time.
Hello, teacher.
Hello. And we have Ivan or Ivan. I don't know which. Is it Ivan or Ivan? You have to turn on your microphone or we will never know. On the Google Hangout, not on your headset, but look above the chat. There you go.
Excuse me. Here I am.
Excellent. Are you
first class here?
Are you Ivan or are you Ivan?
Ivan.
Ivan.
Yes.
Hi, Ivan. Where are you from, Ivan?
From north of Spain, from Asturias, an area in the north of Spain.
Ah, more towards Basque country or more towards Galicia?
More towards Galicia. It's close. It's close to Galicia.
Okay, well then I'll say bem-vindo à aula. Because I'm in the south, below Galicia. Nice to have you, Ivan. And let's say a quick hello to some other new faces as well. Marta, I'm not sure I know you yet. Hello, Marta.
Hello, teacher. No, you're right. This is my first lesson with you.
Nice to have you. Marta, what is that a picture of?
It is a circle in the sand.
It's a circle in the sand. That sounds deep and symbolic.
Yeah. Yes, please.
Well, feel free to tell us about it if you want.
Okay.
I'll leave it up to you. Okay, and we've got Mario back. Excellent to have you, Mario.
Hello, how are you?
Nice to see you again, Mario.
Yes, nice to see you too.
And 2 more quick hellos. We've got another Ivan. Are you also Ivan or are you Ivan?
Ivan.
Well, I'm going to call you Ivan.
Ivan is in English, but my name is Ivan.
Yeah, but then I've got 2 people called Ivan, and I'm going to get the 2 of you confused. Okay, I'm going to call you Ivan David. Is it David or David?
Ivan David.
Ivan David. Ivan David, where are you from?
I'm from Colombia.
From Colombia. Nice to have you with us. For me, it's night. For you, it's probably the afternoon. Oh my God, what was that? Did something explode? What was that noise? Did anyone else hear that?
Yeah, I think it was the noise of a chair. I don't know who was moving.
Wow. Okay. And we have Ate. Did I say it right, or did I forget your pronunciation already? Ate.
Ata.
Ata. Wait a second. You were in my class before, and you said ate. I'm sure you said that.
No, I said.
Oh, wait. Maybe it's a different ata.
No, it was me. We were talking about children working in Bangladesh.
That's it. Yeah. Okay, it was you.
Uh,
So I forgot.
yeah.
Because I don't watch my own videos, so that's why I don't remember. Ata. Okay, nice to have you back, Ata. And this time I can see you. Last time I couldn't see you.
Yes, I was live. I was here with the camera.
Ata, you should really wear a jacket. I've got a jacket on. See, everyone's got jackets on, but you, Ata.
It's hot here in France.
I know, but we all dress up to come to the Talkaholics class. We all dress up. Mario has a tuxedo. He's got a smoking jacket on. You can't see it because he turned his camera off. But he's got it's true. And Marta, she's wearing I don't know what she's wearing. She's out there in the sand drawing circles. I don't know what she's doing.
Yeah.
Okay, listen everyone. Remember, this is an advanced class, but that means that the texts are advanced. But our discussion of the texts, I think that anyone can participate in. So don't worry if not everything is clear in the beginning. Worry more about expressing your opinions. That's the most important thing. Okay, my plan for today is to bring up a new issue that we can talk about during the 4 classes this week. And we're going to read at least 2 of the texts out of this series. And we're going to spend at least 2 classes having a debate, this one being one. So what I'm going to do is give you the link right now. Even if we don't read this text today, it has some quotes I want you to look at. Okay, so I'm going to give it to you right now in the chat window. And then tomorrow I'll make sure it's posted in advance. I couldn't post it. Okay, so open that up. And you should see, I'll share my screen so that everyone can see what I see. When you open it up, you will see this title, Talkaholic Texts Series number 13, Denmark's Work-Life Balance. So everyone should see that when you open it up. Okay, if there's any problems, just let me know. Oh, if you want to get in touch with me, you've got all my info here below the title. And if you go down to the next page, page 2, you'll see a bunch of quotes. In order for us to have this debate, we first need to understand some of the language. So what I'm going to ask you to do, I'm going to ask maybe 3 people to read each of the quotes, and we're going to discuss them, and we're going to make sense out of these quotes. A quote is when you say someone else's words, to quote somebody. So that's what I mean when I say quote. These are quotes from an article that we may take a look at. And a quick hello to Guillermo, who just joined us now. Hi, Guillermo. Nice to have you.
Hi.
Hi, Guillermo. And where are you from, Guillermo?
I'm from Barcelona.
From Barcelona. Okay, excellent. Nice to have you here. Guillermo, don't forget to click that link in the chat window, and we're going to share that document.
I already clicked it.
Excellent. Okay. So, can I have Mario and Judith and Ida, the first people I saw, could each of you read one of those quotes, and let's have a quick discussion about what they mean. Mario, could you start with the first one under quotes number 1, please?
Okay. The ghost of the... Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay. The ghost of the welfare queen is still lurking.
Right. The ghost of the welfare queen is still lurking. Mario, can you lurk for us? Show us what lurk means. Can you do a little pantomime? Can you do a little bit of pantomime, Mario, and show us what lurking means? What do you think it means?
I forgot that word. I already seen that word, but I forgot it.
It's not an easy word.
Yeah.
You all have your cameras on. Can someone show me what lurking looks like? Do we have any clowns? No? Really? Nobody? No one wants to try? Oh, so Judy turns her camera off. Okay. Ivan Nela, can you lurk for me? What is lurking? Ivan, you got your camera, you got your microphone off. I can't hear you.
Sorry, I'm not really sure.
Do you think it's a good thing or a bad thing? Let's start there.
It seems a bad thing.
It does seem like
it
a
comes
bad
from a
thing.
ghost. It comes from a ghost, so I think it's not good.
That's true. Actually, that's a good connection. The fact that you have ghost and lurk in the same sentence already tells you something. What happened to Marta? Did she disappear? Marta got kicked out of the... Oh, there you are, Marta.
No,
okay.
No.
Well,
I turned my microphone off.
Talk to me for a moment, Marta.
Yeah.
Do ghosts lurk? And if they do, who else lurks?
I don't know. Yes, ghosts may lurk, but they also may appear.
That's true.
And,
so there's got to be some difference between the two.
Yes, I know what lurking mean. I mean.
So give us an example, or maybe substitute it with a different word.
Okay, so criminals are on the lurk. I mean, they escape, so they hide from the police.
You got the right idea, but I think lurking would be more what they do when they get caught by the police, rather than hiding. So, almost. I've just changed it a little bit because lurking has this idea of maybe stalking someone. You're lurking in the shadows. Lurking in the shadows. You know what a stalker is?
No.
Stalker, yes.
We usually hear about stalkers with celebrities. What do stalkers do?
They persecute people.
Right, or just pursue, maybe.
Pursue, yes.
Right. Persecute,
Like with
that's
paparazzi.
true.
It's what paparazzi do, no?
Exactly what the paparazzi do. Exactly what they do. The only difference is that a paparazzo is going to be really in your face, really direct. They don't always lurk. But if maybe they're at a place where they shouldn't be, they could be in trouble, then they'll be lurking to take the picture. Right? Spying, exactly. Yeah.
So lurking may be something connected to waiting and hiding at the same time.
Not connected, it means exactly that. Waiting and hiding in the shadows.
Okay.
So let's go back to Mario's sentence. The ghost of the welfare queen is still lurking. Anyone want to venture a guess what we're talking about? What is the welfare queen? Is that like the Dairy Queen? You know, where you can get the ice cream sundae? What's the welfare queen? Welfare is a word you hear a lot in the United States, especially when their people are running for office. It's a big issue. Anyone want to venture a guess? Anyone here in the United States? No? Well, Mario, do you think you live in a welfare state? What would you guess?
Welfare, it's about protection, something like this?
Absolutely, that's it. It's all about protection. What kind of protection? That's it. See, the reason we don't use this word in Europe is because we don't have the same concept. We call it something else. But you're right. It's all about protecting. Want to go a little further? What does the state protect?
Citizen.
Yes, it isn't.
And more specifically, they're what? Generally the citizens, but specifically they're what do all citizens have if they're citizens? What do we call that?
Rights.
The rights.
Right, yes.
Okay. Sometimes we'll call these rights civil liberties. Civil liberties, which I just spelled wrong, I'm sorry. Let's say a quick hello to Ursula. Thank you for joining us, Ursula.
Hello.
Am I saying your name right? Is it Ursula or Ursula?
Rather this Ursula.
Ursula, okay.
Yes.
Ursula, Do you have civil liberties? I bet you do. What would be an example of a civil liberty?
Right to express your thought without punishment.
Freedom of speech.
Yes.
Freedom of speech. Okay, these are civil liberties. So, when we're talking about some different rights, we're talking about some different rights if we mention welfare state. And remember, welfare state, welfare is kind of an American issue. It has kind of a negative connotation. In Europe, we don't really go for it, yeah. Oh, I thought there was a question. Hello? Who's that? Ivan? Sorry, Ivan, I gotta mute you because I'm hearing kids or something or television. So you can turn on your microphone when you're ready to speak, though. So, oh, you still got your mic on? How'd you do that? Did I mute the wrong person? So let me try this again. So, Atai, what might a welfare state protect? So we know what civil liberties are. What other things, I'll just say it like this, what else would a welfare state protect in that kind of a government? What do you think?
Are you talking about abstract things or material?
Well, give me your idea, and then I'll tell you what I'm thinking.
If you are talking about abstract things, I would say rights and the value of the country, which is represented by citizens. And
okay. Rights and what? What was the second part? Rights and values?
Yes.
Okay. So on the abstract level, protecting rights and values, we're going to come back to that in a moment. That's a good point. And more concretely,
I would say border of.
It's a little hard to hear you. Sorry, it's your microphone is a little muffled. It's hard to hear you. So more concretely, what?
I would say boundaries of the country.
Oh, boundaries, the borders.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is well, that's definitely something we could talk about. That's another big issue in the States right now. I'm going to put concrete borders. Whoops. All right. So let's read the other two and then see if we can figure out what's going on here. So Ida, could you do the second one for us?
Yes. A lot of poor people are working, she says.
She says. She sells seashells down by the seashore.
Okay.
She says.
She says. They are the people giving you 10 when you buy coffee in the morning or handing you your dry cleaning. These are the people who rely on public benefits.
Good. Public, not public. Public benefits.
Public, yeah.
Good. You said it right. Okay, does that give us a better idea of what is meant by welfare queen? We can start to figure out what this term means. So Ida, what idea does that bring to mind now?
No idea.
Really? No idea? Okay. Well, let's focus on the word public benefits. Rely on public benefits. Does that help you a little bit? Who relies on public benefits?
The government? No.
Well, the government's the one giving the public benefits. But look at the people they mention here. Look at what kind of jobs are those? We've got the people handling your dry cleaning. What is dry cleaning? Is that clear with everyone?
Yeah.
So people handling dry cleaning, or the people you give change, the people giving you change when you buy coffee in the morning. Remember, this is from an elite newspaper, so you can imagine who's reading this newspaper, right? This is their perspective. So you have to keep that in mind when you read this. This is from a very specific place, and we'll talk about it in a moment. Who is handing you the change if you buy coffee in a big metropolis like New York City? What kind of job is that?
Waitress.
Bartender.
Yeah, so a bartender, well, a bartender is more for alcohol, but you're right, someone behind a coffee bar, right? In America, for some reason, we use the word barista, even though I never heard anyone say that in Italy, but okay, that's what we say. But yeah, someone behind the coffee bar, a waiter, a waitress, right? And do those jobs, do they have benefits?
Not so much.
No.
Not so much.
Yeah.
So what does that tell you about public benefits then? What are they dependent on? Because it helps us figure out what we mean by public benefits. So what do you think are some public benefits that they may be dependent on?
Can I talk?
Yeah, there's no... just talk.
I would say there are some special kind of help that the country can give, or the government can take to people who are having or passing bad times. No?
The people who are having... I'm sorry, it's a little hard to hear you. The last part again? The people who are having what?
Hard time.
Hard time, right. Okay. And what are some specific benefits? Maybe I could ask Guillermo, what do you think are some specific benefits people having a hard time might receive or do receive in your country? You got to turn on your microphone, Guillermo.
Yeah, sorry. Money or maybe tickets or coupons in order to be able to buy some meal.
Right. We call those vouchers, by the way. Vouchers.
Vouchers. Exactly.
That's it. Absolutely. And what about that money? Maybe I could ask. By the way, you're all free to speak. You don't have to wait for me to call on you. What do we call the money you might receive as a public benefit? Judith, what do we call that? What do you think? Or what's some type of money you might receive as a public benefit? Judith?
I don't know. I don't know.
But maybe a public benefit can also be health insurance.
Health insurance, yeah. Okay. So insurance may give you something. For example, what if you're too sick to work? What if you're too sick to work? What do you receive then?
If you are sick,
yeah, too sick to work,
you can stay at home and you continue earning your salary. You don't lose money for being at home.
Ida, wherever you live, I want to move there. Where do you live?
In Spain, but in Spain things are changing radically nowadays. So that happened some years ago, but no nowadays.
All right, exactly. And what about those examples you read about? The one giving you your change when you buy coffee in the morning, the person who's handling your dry cleaning. Do their jobs keep paying them their salaries when they're too sick to work?
No,
I don't think so. I don't think so. So who pays if you're too sick to work? Imagine you have diabetes and you can't work. Who's going to give you the money? I know you all know the answer. I just want to hear the English expression. So what do we call that? Unemployment.
In my country is the Social Security.
That's it. Social Security, and you may receive unemployment. We just call it unemployment, but it's unemployment benefit or unemployment subsidy. Okay, so that's what we're talking about now. Let's see, why don't we call that Social Security? Why are they calling it welfare? Because it seems to me that there's a different meaning of this word from some circles, and that's what we're going to read about. At least two different opinions about whether this is a good thing or a bad thing for society as a whole. Okay, now we're going to get to what the welfare queen really means. So I forget who was next. I think it was, by the way, is it Judith or Judith? I can't remember. Do I say the J or?
Judith. Judith.
Judith. Could you read the third quote for us?
Yes.
Go for it.
There's a woman in Chicago.
Somebody said. Don't worry.
Somebody said, okay. She has 80 names, 30 addresses, 12 social security cards. She's got medic aid, getting food stamps, and she's collecting welfare under each of her names. Her tax-free cash income alone is over $150,000.
Excellent. By the way, that program is called Medicaid. Medicaid. It's an American version of Social Security. Mm-hmm. It's what, because we have a private system. In fact, it's still mostly private, although Obama has put through some changes, big changes. Well, it depends on who you talk to, but big changes in the sense that finally it's not 100% private. There's some rules that weren't there before. Okay. Who do you think said that? 2 questions for the group. This is a very famous person. Who do you think said it? And my second question is, what do you think the welfare queen is according to this description? So a little more guessing, but then I'll tell you the answer. Anyone want to venture a guess? Who said it, and how would you sum up the welfare queen according to this description?
I think it was someone Republican.
Very good. Not just some Republican, by the way, the Republican.
The Republican.
I'm not correcting your English. I'm correcting your. When you find out who it is, you'll understand what I mean. Not just any Republican, the god of the Republicans, because we all have our heroes. So this is one of their heroes.
George Bush father.
No, but very close. Very close. This was a famous quote attributed to Ronald Reagan when he was governor of California before he became president. So this is 5 years before he became president. No one knows if he... No, I think this is true. I think this one he really said, if I remember right. But there's some myth about whether he really said it like this or something like that. But anyway, this is attributed to him. So now you know who said it. By the way, Guillermo, why did you guess correctly that it came from the Republicans? You're actually right, but how did you know?
Because I have heard that they are always they don't want to give the people security social, or as you said, to give the people,
benefits, you mean?
Public benefits, exactly. They are in contra, they don't want public benefits for the people.
And why is that?
They say that this is a waste of money, and that the people have to have their own social security, they private.
Okay. Yeah, that's it. That's exactly right. That's part of the debate, that this should be private. Let's take a quick moment, and before we move on from the quotes. So, is the welfare queen a positive or negative image? Obviously.
It's a negative. Very negative.
Yes.
And I heard a yes. Who said yes?
Mario.
Mario. Okay. So, Mario, what characterizes a welfare queen according to this quote, which is apparently from Ronald Reagan in 1975? What is the welfare queen trying to do? So don't worry about the details, but just in general, what's the welfare queen, this image of this person, what's this person trying to do? What would you say, Mario?
Try to convince his part of people belonging to his political part to that's not a good idea to give social security to
Yeah,
people
absolutely. Yeah.
who cheat.
People who
usually,
cheat.
yes.
Okay, that's it. So in a larger sense, the welfare queen, this image that was at least, I remember since I was a little kid, this debate and this term, welfare queen, and they're still using it today. It's still thrown around a lot. So that's it. It's the idea that someone is cheating the system. Someone is cheating the system. It's a little more sinister than that, because it's not just anyone. If you can read the subtext, you can go a little further. It's not just anybody cheating the system. Well, first of all, it's a queen. So what does that tell you? Where are the ladies? Ladies?
Yeah.
Ladies in the house? So if we're going to look at this stereotype, first of all, let's be clear what the stereotype is. It's a queen, therefore, ladies, who is it?
Somebody who is rich.
Not just somebody who is rich. Wait a second. Welfare queen, what does that tell you?
Maybe transsexual? Or?
No. Not that kind of queen. No. No, it's
Somebody
more
who has power.
because they cheated. Not really power, but they have money because they cheated. But the point is, it's a woman. That's the first point of the stereotype. It's not a man. It's a queen, right? Mm-hmm. It's important to know that because that's part of the stereotype. The second is that they say welfare and not Social Security, or welfare and not subsidies, or welfare and not benefits. It's welfare, and that word has now kind of a negative connotation. So it's a woman who's cheated the system by having many names and all these other things that give you benefits. Names, addresses, more than one card, the medical subsidy from Medicaid, food stamps because she's poor, and she's collecting and the idea here is that she has lots of children too, right? So this was a serious stereotype. And in fact, there's a racial component, which I won't even mention. So you can see how bad this was. So when I was a kid, this was all over the evening news. All over the evening news. It was in debates. It was everywhere. And of course, with Obama's election and re-election, it surfaced again. So what we're going to do is talk about this welfare state, decide if we think it's a good thing or a bad thing, if it's completely good or completely bad, if it needs to change, and if Europe is making a mistake by having one, because Europe, compared to the United States, has a stronger welfare state. So, with that in mind, I kind of would like to actually start. Give me a second here, because I'd actually like you to look at something before we read. Give me just 1 second, because I got to open a link on my computer, because I don't have this open in front of me. Hang on 1 moment. Oh, actually, okay. Let me start here. If you want, you can click on that link under number 1. If you want, it's not necessary. I'm just going to read you a little bit of background quickly, and then I'm going to turn it over to a debate, and I'm going to give you a link also to help you with the debate. But first, a little bit of background from that CNN article, Return of the Welfare Queen. I'm going to just, the beginning is about Obama and his re-election, but if you go down to the middle, I'll actually share my screen with you. You'll see, I know this is a little bit small on your screen, but you'll see this Birth of the Welfare Queen story. Just to give you a little background and to understand where the term comes from. So you have to know a little bit about it. It's more or less what we said. So Birth of the Welfare Queen story. Here's how Ronald Reagan, first told the story when he ran for the Republican presidential nomination in 1976. At virtually every campaign stop, he attacked welfare chiselers. A chiseler is someone who chisels. That means you have a little, like a pick or a knife, and you have a hammer, and you bang against a stone to chisel or to carve out the stone. So a chiseler is another way to say a person who is cheating, a chiseler. So that's a metaphor. Okay, so at virtually every campaign stop, he attacked welfare chiselers by bringing out the same character, according to press accounts. Actually, if you can see the screen, I'd like to hear some other voices. So, Ivan, can you read the second paragraph? Can you see that on the screen, or is it too small?
What?
Can you read the second paragraph here? There's a woman? Or is that too small for you?
Second?
Yep. Here.
There's a woman in Chicago. Reagan says, according to the article in the Now, defunct Washington Star.
Defunct means that it does not exist. It used to exist, but it went out of business. It's defunct. Okay, go ahead.
Read again.
Well, you didn't finish.
There is a woman in Chicago, Reagan says, according to an article in the Now defunct Washington Star. She has 80 names,
30 addresses.
12 social security cards. She goes
Medicaid. It's the name of a program, Medicaid.
Okay, getting food stamps, and she is collecting welfare under each of her names. Her tax-free cash income alone is over $150,000.
$150,000. Does anyone know what the average? By the way, this is not a real person. This was Ronald Reagan talking about a character that he claimed to read about, and we're not even sure if he said it, but that's the idea, that he said this when he was campaigning. Does anyone know what the average income is in the United States? Do you think it's 150,000?
No.
What do you think it is?
35,000.
35,000? Okay.
Half of that.
Who said half?
Half of 150.
Half
So
150? 75?
75, yes.
I wish I was making 75,000.
About 2,000.
How much?
2,000, 3,000.
Per what?
Per month.
Yeah, but the thing is, we don't count the months in America because we get paid by the week, or we get paid by the year.
I would say 45, yes.
45, and I heard another out there.
I would say 25.
25. Well,
per year.
Here's the truth. If you're a teacher, you'll probably make 25. If you're a kindergarten teacher, you probably make double, maybe more. Because kindergarten teachers, they're highly valued. Kindergarten, when your kids are like 6 and 5. Not every kindergarten, but private ones. If you're a regular teacher, very possible 25,000. It's possible to earn less. It's possible. But that sounds about right. The poverty level is 18,000, roughly 18,000. The median income is roughly 45,000, 50,000, somewhere around there. 150,000 is very good. Very good. So, according to press accounts, according to the newspapers at the time and television, Reagan was claiming that people cheating the Social Security system were earning, and remember, this is 1976. Imagine what 150 would be worth in today's money. I mean, at least double, right? At least double, if not more. Mario, want to continue?
Mm-hmm.
Can you read it okay, or is it too small?
Yes, okay. It was a powerful story, but reporters investigating it concluded it wasn't quite true. Some said it may have been based on a then 47-year-old woman in Chicago, but that Reagan wildly exaggerated her abuses.
Good, wild. So that's a strange construction, by the way. It was based on a then you've got a little hyphen, then 47-year-old woman, then to say this was in 1976. It's a weird construction, but you'll see it a lot. It's not uncommon. Based on a then true fact, right? Referring to a fact in the past. Finish the last sentence there, Mario, please.
Okay. In time, though, thought I didn't matter what reporters said. People started repeating the story as true.
Right. So, what do we call that when people start reporting the story as true? What's another name for that?
Gossip.
Gossiping.
Yeah. Gossip, mythology. It became a myth. It became an urban legend. An urban legend. You know, like the urban legend where there's a guy out on a lake or something and he sees a little dog and he oh my God, how did the dog get out on the lake? Then he picks up the dog and brings it home. Finds out it's an exotic rat from some far-off country, and it's so big it looks like a dog. And then it bites him and he dies. He dies of rabies or something. That's an urban legend too. So this story became so common that it became a kind of myth or urban legend. I'll just add one more thing. I'll just read at the end, and then we're going to have a little debate about this. Hang on, let me share my screen here. Who's out there? Mr. Ivan number 2, the Ivan Nial. How do you say your name? Could you want to continue this last 2 paragraphs here?
Okay. It hangs together as a good story because it's consistent with people's perception of the real world, says Craig R. Smith, who was a speechwriter for former President Gerald Ford and a consulting writer with President George H.W. Bush.
Yeah, that's the first Bush. Okay, keep going.
Like in any good mythology, you need heroes and villains, and in the Welfare Queen, you had a villain who was taking advantage of the system.
Right. Okay, so I think that's really all you need to know about that term. You know what we're talking about. We're talking about whether ultimately socialism is a good idea or not. Because if it's public, it's part of socialism. If it's private, it's part of the capitalist system. And some people think they can't mix, right? Most people think that they can. So that's what we're going to talk about. If you want, you can read that article. It's not that important, but if you want, you can. What I'd like to turn to, though, is I'd actually like to turn right to the debate, and for the rest of class, talk about our ideas. And because I think I'll give you overnight to read the article if you want. Hang on just a second, and let me give you the debates. So I'm going to give you a second link. You don't have to open it. You can read directly off the screen if you want. So let me share my screen. There we go. Okay. So very much like last week's debate or Talkaholic text series, I'm going to the opinion pages of the New York Times, the op-eds, where we have people who should be experts in the field discussing important issues. Here, you'll see Denmark's work-life balance. That's the article we're going to read probably tomorrow, not today. It's a little bit long. But I'd like to have a little discussion first. So don't worry about the debaters. Let's focus on the left side where you have the debate itself. And I'd like just to quickly read through this text. It's really short. It's just a paragraph or 2 paragraphs. And then I'd like us to talk about our opinions. I don't know if I can maybe make this a little bit smaller so you can see it. It's right against the... I can't move my screen over anymore. Well, I'll tell you what. If you need the link, I will put it in the chat window. If you want, all right? but you can also just read it off the screen. Hopefully you can see it. So who has been quiet? So well, it's Marta, right? Marta, why don't you read the first paragraph for us?
Okay. Just a moment.
Actually, it's so small you can read the whole thing.
Okay. The Times recently described the Danish welfare state as ample to afford, with generous benefits seducing able-bodied young people into living off the state instead of contributing to it. But a Times blog post responded that Danes are neither lazy nor poor, citing evidence by the World Bank and the World Competitive Report. Is there a magic compromise to be made between reforming the European welfare state and saving it? If so, what would that look like, and how could it inspire innovations in other countries?
Okay, so this is the question that the New York Times is asking us. I think it's a kind of a loaded question. But what I'd like to do today is to get your opinions about this, and maybe we can also decide what the assumption is, because there's some big assumptions being made as well. So I'm going to put the question in the chat window for everyone to look at. Is there a magic compromise to be made between reforming the European welfare state and saving it? If so, what would it look like? What would the compromise look like? And how could it inspire innovations in other countries? Well, what's going on in Europe that this question even comes up? I'm sure none of you have been asleep for the last 2 years, so what's going on, especially down here in the south? Me and Ivan, we know about it. Where's Ivan? And Guillermo, we probably know about it, right? We're living it.
Well, a little bit I have heard something about it.
Aren't you in Barcelona?
Yeah.
Is Spain in a good position these days?
No. Really not.
Not
we
really.
are having a lot of problems.
By the way, we are not having. We have. Just we have.
We have.
We have. We have.
We have a lot of problems.
Okay. And we lost our other Ivan, but that's okay. The rest of you can talk. Judith, you're in Hungary, right?
Yes, I am.
How's life there? Is everything going well?
No, not at all.
Is it similar to what's happening in Spain and Portugal and Greece and places like that?
Yes.
Want to tell us a little bit about it? Want to give us a little bit of background? What's going on?
Well, unemployment is getting higher.
So unemployment is going up. The rate is going up. Okay.
Yes. Factories are closed.
So production is down. Unemployment is up. Production is down. Okay.
Yes.
And how is the government handling this? What are they doing to help? By the way, I'm not picking on you. I'm going to ask everyone, but I'm just starting with you.
Just taking austerity measures, it seems to.
Oh, you're in Spain too, aren't you, Ida?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. So, what's the government doing out there? Say that again, Ida? The government's doing what?
Government is taking austerity measures.
Okay, it's not maybe not taking. I would say maybe implementing.
It's implementing.
I forgot I can't write because Google will mute me if I type. It's implementing austerity measures. And how is that working in Spain? Everything's getting better and better, right?
No, things are getting worse and worse.
So why did they keep doing it then?
What?
Why does the government keep on with the austerity?
That's the $1,000,000 question.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking myself.
No, seems that, well, at least they say that all the problems are that they have to follow the orders that they are receiving from Europe, you know,
right?
In order to accomplish their economic balance, or well, I don't know very well how to explain that in English.
In order to accomplish you mean to stay integrated in Europe?
Exactly.
Okay. We have an expression which is called pulling your weight. Pulling your weight. And I can't type and speak at the same time. Hold on a second. Okay. And that's, Guillermo, that's what you're talking about. The idea that if you're going to pull your own weight, right, then you need to make a contribution, right?
Exactly. Exactly. And seems that Germany is who is managing right now all the economic issues in Europe, and they are who are establishing the rules in order to
in order to what? Somebody help him out.
Yeah.
To get out of the economic crisis, but it's
yeah.
That measures are not working. That's the reality.
Yeah. So one idea is that it's coming from the center of Europe, right? That the ideas are coming from there, and that in some way they're not fair. They're not helping, and they're not fair. I live in Portugal, so I'm living through the austerity, and it's a mess. Things are really rough here, very, very rough. Maybe it's not exactly as bad as Greece, but then again, the political landscape is starting to change too, because people are getting fed up. It's not working. Do you know?
I think
Go ahead, Atai.
And I think it's the same case here in France.
Atai, your connection is a little bit, something's a little wrong, so try to speak a little bit slow and loud or something, because it's really hard to hear you.
Do you hear me now?
Yeah, just speak slow and loud.
Okay, so my point is, I think the situation is the same here in France, because employment has reached a point, a level that it was the worst level at all, like in 1997, you know?
So the highest level for almost, what, 15 years, right?
Exactly, yeah. And government has...
Government? Try again. Government, good.
Government has suggested some programs for the students, who not just for the students, for everybody who wants to get a job. So you have to follow. It's like you don't start working exactly directly, but you have a mentor for a period of time, and then you will be a good professional to help the companies to employ more and more people.
And who provides the mentor? The government provides. You mean are you talking like a social worker? Someone from the state?
No, not exactly. Not exactly. It's the government who pays the company.
Oh, I see.
In order to employ people.
Okay. But what is the mentor idea? I didn't quite follow that. Is someone in the company acting like a mentor?
Exactly.
Interesting.
John,
So,
excuse me.
Yeah, go for it.
When finish the class?
Say again. I'm sorry, Ivan. I can't hear you. Let me, Guillermo. I need to mute you because I'm hearing typing. I think it's from you. Go ahead, Ivan.
Because I've gotta go, but I need to sign again.
You've got to go, but what?
because I'm busy in this moment.
No problem. Go.
No, but I wish to stay in the class.
You don't have to go if you don't want to. I want you to stay. Do you want him to stay? I think she does. Mario, you want Ivan to stay? We all want you to stay, Ivan.
Yes.
It's unanimous. You can stay.
Stay, please stay.
Please stay. and Ivan, you can come back tomorrow if you want.
Okay.
Just you need a ticket though, but come back tomorrow.
Okay.
And listen, Ivan, I want you to read the article overnight. So in the document that I gave everyone, Talkaholic Text Series number 13, I'm gonna give everyone a chance to read it because it's difficult. So and we're only gonna look at parts of it in the class tomorrow. So try to read it on your own, okay?
Okay.
All
okay.
right. So
Bye.
toodaloo, bye-bye.
Bye. See you later.
All right. So this mentor program, that's pretty interesting. So let me see if I understand this right. It's an incentive. That's what we call these things. It's an incentive to get the private sector to have the government is giving incentive for the private sector to hire people. Does that sound about right, Atai?
Exactly.
Incentive. It's an incentive.
And what country it is about?
He's in your country, Mario.
Ah, in France. Okay, so it sounds like it was telling me something, but yes, I think, but it can't work. I think this is just something to saving time, just to make people be more patient too. But the
Why
result
not? Why can't it work?
because employer does not hire people. I think in France we're part of country that there's a lot of taxes. When I'm talking about taxes, it's about 15% for a normal person. About is
15? 15%? Yeah, 15 meaning 15, right?
Yeah.
Do you know what the tax rate is here in Portugal compared to that?
More?
Way more. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And we earn much less.
15%. I think it's
much higher. Much higher. If you're saying 15, 15, not 50,
no, 50%.
Ah, 50%. Okay, it's the same.
Sorry. Yes, 50%.
Okay, sorry, I misunderstood. It's about the same.
Yeah. It's huge, and the employer have to pay more than that. You see, for example, for people who been hired by an employer, you have to pay twice. If the employer is about 2,000.
Let me just interrupt you for a second, Mario. Yeah. Some of you have to go because the class is going to end in a minute. If you have to go, no problem. All I want you to do is read or skim through the text so you're more familiar with it before tomorrow's class. Okay? Class, same time, same place tomorrow.
Okay.
All right. And Mario, let's pick up with this thought in the beginning of tomorrow's class. Okay, Mario?
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool.
Okay, and Marta, it is exactly the same document, the one that says Talkaholic Text Series number 13, the one that I gave you. But I'm going to put a link on this class. Okay, so if you're not sure, go back to Verbling, and I'll make sure it's linked to today's class. Okay, so I'm sorry to cut you off, Mario, but let's start there tomorrow. Okay. Okay, so I hope to see you all there tomorrow, and tomorrow we're going to go through the article and see what else we can learn, and ultimately answer those questions that I posted in the chat window. Is there a magical compromise? Because what Atai was saying, that sounds like a pretty good compromise to me. So we'll talk about it tomorrow. Goodbye for now, everyone.
Okay.
Okay,
See you.
bye.
Okay, bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye.